Hello and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. Today we have Mitch Russo here with us, and he's a business growth strategist, but he also built this very interesting SaaS company that helps coaches really grow and expand their business and get the best out of their sort of coaching sessions with their clients. So, Mitch, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. Well, it's Tony. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. A quick introduction of my background is I built a software company when I was 28 years old and scaled it to 10 million in revenue and sold it. Then I joined Tony Robbins. So Tony and I became partners with Chet Holmes. Chet, Tony, and I built business breakthroughs, and we scaled that to nearly 30 million in revenue. And then I started writing business books. I've completed 5, publishing my 6th shortly, and so my love of teaching and leading comes through in my writing as well. And then about 5 years ago, my coaching business got very busy, and I tried to find coaching software to help me, and nothing worked. I tried 5 platforms, nothing really satisfied me. So I decided to build Click Coach, and now this is serving hundreds of coaches all over the world and expanding rapidly.
Wow, great. I mean, really well done on all these achievements so far. And I briefly had the chance to check your system just before we started, and it looks very, very interesting. And I'm definitely going to, try this myself, and also share it with a lot of coaches that we have in different groups on Facebook, and also everyone watching us as well can actually get the link in the description to check it out. So what inspired you? Obviously, you actually worked on your own business, and then managed to actually fix this for yourself. But what inspired you to share that with other coaches?
I actually had no intention of sharing it with other coaches. I really just needed a tool to fix my coaching business. I was wasting so much time on admin, and I was having a difficult time collecting the data I needed to guide my clients. So I had spreadsheets here, notepads here, email here, Zoom windows there, calendars here, tracking systems all over the place. And on top of that, my communication with my own clients was scattered. It was scattered among email accounts and Instagram feeds and all these other things. And I needed to bring everything into one place. I needed to save at least 30 minutes per session of coaching that I would normally spend on admin and tracking. And so that's what inspired me to build a platform. I already had a team. I mean, I've been in the software world for a long time, so I had a software development team. And I said, you know what? This is a perfect project. Let's get this done. I just need it bare bones. I just need it for my own use. And it took longer than they said it would, of course. And they delivered the product as a minimally viable solution. And it worked. And it worked so well that I started to tell my coaching friends about it. And I'd say, hey, jump on Zoom. I'll give you a quick demo. And they said, well, can we use it too? And I said, yeah, sure. Yeah, let me get you. I have to figure out how to get the password. I only had just me, so I didn't know any better. So I called up my team and I said, look, somebody else wants to use it. And they go, oh, well, we have to build the front end now. We have to have a sign-up feed, a sign-up field, and all. And I said, that's fine, just do it. So another month went by, and finally got my page where people could sign up. And they said, well, how much do you want to charge? I said, I don't know. Probably $1,000 or so. It's very valuable. And they said, okay, yeah. And so we put together the whole thing and started selling it. But it wasn't really until I met Mike Phil-Same, who is the founder of Webinar Jam and EverWebinar and Groove. When he saw my platform, he was inspired. And he goes, well, man, this is incredible, but the interface is really dated. It needs to be updated. And I said, yeah, you're probably right. But the last time I updated the interface, it was like $10,000 and took 3 months. He goes, well, no. Let's use AI. And in a matter of months, we had a completely new design. It was integrated into the product. And then we started adding more features again. And then he started offering it to his community at 150,000 subscribers in his world. And it just exploded from there. And so we continued to use AI to enhance it and add more tools and scale the business. It's been a wild ride. It's a lot of fun.
Wow, definitely. And then also when we were in the green room, you mentioned this AI app that you actually built as well. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it turns out that I think my third book was called Coach Elevation. And when I wrote the book, I wrote it. This is going to sound funny, Tony, but sometimes I write books to make sure I don't forget what I know. Does that sound silly? I apologize if it does. But I wrote my very first book is called The Invisible Organization. And I released that, I think it was 2015. And, and the reason I wrote it was because I had just spent 5 years building a $30 million company with Tony Robbins, and I learned so much, and I didn't want to forget it. So I started making notes. And then someone said to me, well, that would be a good book. Well, the same thing happened with Coach Elevation. Would it be okay if I share my screen for one moment, or is that not
you can do it?
encouraged?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So let me just quickly show you what the AI looks like. So this is Coach Elevation. And what this is, if you click down here, what this is basically is my book, Coach Elevation, which you get for free as a PDF download, embedded into an intelligent system. And these are the 12 frameworks that I talk about in the system. So, for example, if you want to know how I do my first session, which is very, very carefully structured. So how do I structure the perfect 2-hour first session? Well, what the AI is going to do is it's going to read my book in real time, and it's going to lay out for you everything that I do in my first session. Now, why do I do this, and why do I spend 2 hours, particularly if I have a new client? And the reason is because I want to set that client up for success. And so one of the things that's important for me is to map out the entire coaching journey before we even start. But how do I do that if I don't know much about the client? So the first thing we do is, and I could get into all the details of it, but the first thing we do is we find out the coach's why, the client's why, and we discover, or he or she discovers her true purpose. There have been times when after this one exercise, my new client sobs because it's the first time they ever realized what their true purpose was. There are other times when after this exercise, they reimagined their entire business around their true purpose and their why. So that's, to me, why this is so important. And I lay the whole thing out here in the AI, and you could even ask it questions because it is, in fact, AI. And so once you go through that, then we do a comprehensive business assessment. I use mind maps because they're very effective, and you can see very quickly what has to be done. And then at that point, I establish weekly tracking goals. And these tracking goals are basically supported by the Click Coach software so that every single session, we're tracking the results. Now, why would I do this? The reason I would do this, Tony, is because I want an amazing testimonial from my clients. I don't want like, yeah, Mitch was okay. I want a glowing, gushing testimonial. And it's probably obvious why one would want that is because it becomes a sales tool. But when you go to my page, which is mitchrusso.com, and you click on the testimonials tab, you'll see not one, but at least a dozen, maybe 20 glowing, gushing testimonials. Why? Because I over-delivered. Now, how would my client know I over-delivered if I wasn't showing them the graphs and the charts that I have tracked every single session, showing them exactly what we did. And so for me, Click Coach is more than just like a platform where you can keep track of your clients and send an invoice. Click Coach is supporting the growth of the coach. And when you do that, if I can take one more second here. So this is the Click Coach platform. And this is what the session screen looks like. If I click on Jane here and I get Jane Smith, who is a test client, basically what happens here is that this is my coaching cockpit. I enter this system and I take notes, I assign my homework, I can view a past session instantly so I don't have to wade through notes or anything like that. I can also see their stats and goals because they must collect them themselves in a client portal. And I can say, oh yeah, Jane's done pretty well here. I'm really pleased with her progress. Now I'm ready to welcome her into the session. Mm-hmm. What I just showed you was saving me so much time compared to what I did before that it wasn't even imaginable. So now what happens is that you get to set the names of the stats that you want to track every single week. And then the client must enter the client portal and do their homework, enter their stats, answer their accountability questions, and then leave any comments that they would prefer. So we have an accountability question library that's filled with over 100 questions from Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy and many of my own as well. So these are accountability questions that you can use. You could edit, you could modify, you could share. They're there for you. And I could show you much more, but I don't want. I know it's a short session, so I don't want to waste all the time on that.
Well, I mean, this is very interesting. I got a number of ideas because I'm also a coach myself, and I work with a number of clients, and I know that, yes, we do spend a lot of time on like, oh, what's the latest update? What's the actual, what are the numbers? What are the statistics? How many leads? How many appointments? How many sales calls? How many strategy sessions and stuff? So yeah, definitely. And it's absolutely worth exploring this further. So how people, if they want to find out a little bit more about this, how they can do that?
You're going to put a link in the show notes below, but the name of the product is called Click Coach. Mm-hmm. So clickcoach.io is the homepage, but I'm sure you have a link in your session notes below this video that clients can click on and access the platform and some bonuses. So by all means, they should do that.
Totally, yeah. I mean, let's do that. Anyone watching us can check out the link in the description of this episode. On top of that, if you have any questions for Mitch or me, you can ask them in the comments, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. And Mitch, I mean, this is a very short episode, but thanks a lot for being a guest, and I hope you can actually join us again in the future as well, because I would like to ask you more questions about your experience of working with Tony and Chad Holmes, and also number of other things, because maybe the final question. Obviously, you wrote a number of books, so can you tell us like briefly which book is sort of good for whichever stage people are on?
Sure. So I have two books specifically that focus on licensing and certification. So licensing and certification has changed my entire life. When I started my software company many years ago, I built a certification program that dropped $1 million in cash and profits to my bottom line 18 months later, and I learned how to do it. So the book you see on the screen called Power Tribes is all about certification. And I'll be upfront, it's not an easy process. You need to do a lot of prep work to build the certification program. But just last year, I released another book called Licensing for Leverage, which is a simpler way of creating licensable programs that you could sell and turn into passive revenue. And what I provide in Licensing for Leverage are all the frameworks you need to build a licensing program very rapidly. So we have easy and hard. Easy is licensing for leverage, hard is power tribes. But both get you to a place where you can finally make passive income from your intellectual property without having to do a lot of work. But I will tell you what I'm most excited about is my new book, which has nothing to do with business, Tony. I apologize if I'm promoting this in the wrong place, but Sacred Crossroads is a book, if I can get it, there we go. Sacred Crossroads is a book about evolution, about awakening, about growing as a human being into who you should be and who you are. And I wrote this book because I went through this myself and I didn't know how to share it. It shouldn't have been a business book. And I decided to take a different direction. So I wrote a magical fiction book that's getting very popular right now. So apologize for taking up my stage time with a personal project, but I thought maybe it would be relevant.
No, that's absolutely relevant for sure. And I can see that your books are actually available on Amazon. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So anyone watching this, you can obviously check the link in the description or just check on Amazon and get some of these books. I'm definitely going to get some of the books. And
Good.
really looking forward to have you as a guest again. Thank you all for watching again. And Mitch, thanks for being a guest. All the best and bye-bye.
My pleasure, Tony. Thank you too.